I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 25, Legal and Political Changes part 3, I guess. And while doing some shoulder impingement training, that's on page 18, and participating in the exercises is at your own risk. So we're already, I think, in part 3, and we are right now by that there are 2 houses, because the number attending the parliament had increased and 2 houses were created. One is the House of Lords. There are the noblemen in, and the great landowners and bishops. And when we have the House of Commons, and in that are knights and wealthy people who were elected to sit in the House of Commons. And wealthy people from towns and cities were elected to sit in the House of Commons. He has not written who elected them. So it doesn't have to be by the public. It is possible, but it is not written here. So in the House of Commons there were knights and wealthy people who were elected. Now, third sentence to that, only a small part of the population was able to join in electing the members of the Commons. Only a small part of the population was able to join in electing. So not so of a common, what was it really? Commons, only a small part of the population. In electing, I think that's only the part where a person elects for someone. In electing. If you see it, it's one word. Able to join in electing the members of the Commons. If you see that whole process as the process of electing members for the House of Commons, then we could say that we're technically able, that it was able to vote for them. But I guess the sentence is not meant like that. Only a small part of the population was able to join in electing the members of the Commons. The process of electing members of the Commons. But I don't think that is really. It is really important, but I'm not sure if it's important for the test. Only a small part of the population was able to join in electing the members. In electing the members of the Commons. It means in electing as a word. Not the whole process electing of members. There we would not know on what part. Let's read that sentence in a few minutes again. Maybe you are able to understand it then. So let's start a bit with a shoulder impingement training. We are just going back with the shoulders. Up, in front, and down. Back, up, in front, and down. I said up. So, forward shoulders flex to down, back, up, in front, and down. And we're changing the direction. We're going in front, up, back, and down. In front, up, back, and down. One last round. And now with similar exercise, we're having long arms, the elbows straight, and we're making the hands to fist. And now we're doing that same but concentrated and very specific every movement. We're going high up, but try to come higher while you bring the shoulders in front. Try to bring the shoulders further in front while you bring them down. Try to bring the shoulders further down while you bring them back. Try to bring the shoulders further back while you lift them up. Try to lift them high up while you bring them in front. And the last round, try to bring them further in front while you bring them down. And try to bring them higher while you back. And now we're changing. Try to bring them further back while you bring them down. Try to bring them further down while you go in front. Try to go further in front while you lift the shoulders up. And try to lift the shoulders higher up while you bring them back. And we're done with this exercise. So let's put that sentence a bit aside. We had another sentence that was, some peasants had their own land, but most were serfs. Now I looked it up. I read only the introduction, but there were 3 types of peasants. Peasants are agricultural laborers, so farmers in a way. Peasants, and there were 3 types. One were slaves. They had basically no rights at all. Then there were serfs. They had some rights, at least over their body, and they could not be sold completely widely as individuals. We had at least some rights over the body and could not be sold just like an object. And the third one were the peasants or the tenants. The tenants, they were mostly free, where you had to give some tax and tributes to the landowner and some duties, but they were more or less free. So they were more or less free peasants, then semi-free serfs, and then slaves. That was during, was it a feudal system? That was here written about a feudal system. Is there a difference? Let's see just that part again. The Normans used a system of land ownership. Used a system known as feudalism. So feudalism, the king gives land to the lords, and in return the lord sends people living on his land to the king to fight in a war. And these people living there were peasants, more or less pretty free, let's say free, peasants free, semi-free serfs, and then completely free slaves. But that's not all written here to England, so but this is a bit broader what I just said about the three types of peasants, more completely Europe. If it's now all for Britain, it's not completely clear. Okay, back to the sentence. We're going to read it, and if we understand it. If not. Only a small part of the population was able to join in electing the members of the Commons. I understand it in the way that it is meant here that only few people were able to elect other people into the Commons. And the members of the Commons were knights and wealthy people who were elected to sit in the House of Commons, but even the people who elected them were only a small portion of the population. So only a small population was able to vote for wealthy people and knights to be in the House of Commons, and then we go, Warsaw is also the House of Lords, in which noblemen and great landowners and bishops were. Let's do the next exercise. We're having the legs standing wide apart. We are going a bit into the knees. We are hinging forward with a straight leg. We're letting the arms hang. And now we are bringing the scapulas together. And we are really pressing the scapulas together. And press the scapulas together. That is a muscle exercise mostly. Now make fists with the hands. And lift the arms up. Let's press the scapulas together. And release the arms and the scapulas. And for a second round, into the knees, hinge forward, let the arms hang, make fists with the hands, and lift the arms hang, and pinch the scapulas together first. And pinch them really together. Now make fists, bring the arms up, and pinch the scapulas together. Release the arms. Scapulas. Let's do the next exercise, same setup. Legs wide apart. We are going into the knees, hinging forward, this time with a round back. We're letting the arms hang and turning the arms to the inside. That is so that the pressure when you're lifting the arm up doesn't go so much on the triceps. We're turning the arms to the inside. We're lifting the arms high up and we're bringing them together. And we're straightening up and we're bringing the shoulders down and together. So the arms high up and together, shoulders down and together. The arms high up, together, shoulders down and together. Arms high up, together, shoulders down and together. And releasing the arms in the floor. And let's do a second round, into the knees, hinge forward, round back, let the arms hang, the arms to the inside, the arms high up and together. Straightening up and bringing the shoulders down and together. The arms high up and together, shoulders down and together. The arms high up and together, shoulders down and together. And release. So only a small portion of the population was able to elect some wealthy people of the towns into the House of Commons, where also some knights were, and in the House of Lords there were noblemen and great landowners and bishops. A similar parliament developed in Scotland. It had 3 houses, called estates: the Lords, the Commons and the clergy. Now the clergy must have something to do with the church. So we're having in the House of Lords in England the noblemen, the great landowners and the bishops. Bishops would be part of the church. And we have in Scotland, in the 3 estates, we're having the 3 estates: Lords, Commons and clergy. But let's take this with clergy a bit aside. Maybe I'm wrong about it. Let's check. The English Parliament. We have it together. I'm going to show it. But let's make a little... Let's say we need a part 4, but we're going fast over that part, what was written here, to the legal and political changes. Yes, it's still part of legal and political changes, but it was here at the beginning, about the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta established the idea that even the king was subject to the law. It protected the rights of the nobility and restricted the king's power to collect taxes or to make or change law. Now understand these quotation marks. There was never to who had written it. It's a quote from the text here. So in 1215, King John, so until 1215, the king had more or less absolute power, only some formal restrictions, formal limits. And in 1215, King John was forced by the noblemen not to have just some king's council in which some noblemen and leaders of the church gave him advice, but to actually, in Magna Carta, to sign that he is subject to the law, yes. That he is restricted in his power to collect taxes and make or change laws. Yes, and here was it. And that he need to involve his noblemen in decisions. In England, parliaments were called for the king to consult his nobles. And that is when the House of... First one parliament, when too many people, and to the House of Lords, with the noblemen, the bishops and the great landowners, and the other one, then with the House of Commons, wealthy people and knights who were usually smaller landowners and wealthy people from towns and cities were elected. Now we don't know if just the wealthy people from towns and cities or also the knights were elected by a portion of the public. It makes a bit sense of both if you look at how it's structured, that knights as well as wealthy people from towns had to be elected by the electors. Okay, but the better was to the Magna Carta. And then in part 4, we're going to go to what is written here in detail about Scotland. We have the 3 estates, a Lords, a Common and the clergy. So I thank you very much, and until next time.